All right. It looks like we are live. So, thanks everybody for tuning in today for our Wellness Wednesdays. Each week, if you've been tuning in, we host a local business in the community that we think brings some wellness to our daily lives. Today, I have Carole Arnett from the Pet Station Country Club with me today. And for those who don't know about the Pet Station offers extensive grooming, training, doggy daycation, and boarding services in the Louisville area. The pet stations, it was created over a decade ago with the mission to give pets and pet parents great care and service. So thank you so much today for joining me, Carole.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to just talk about why you should hire a professional dog trainer. And I know I can vouch for that you should. My pups are there right now, and they are getting their butt in shape. So let's talk about that. So Carole, how long have you been with the pet station?
So I've been with the pet station since we had built this location on Murphy Lane. So it started out originally with just the grooming facility, and Norton Commons is actually no longer there. But I've been here since we opened, which was 2017, and I've filled a couple different roles in that time, and so now I'm a full-time trainer.
Okay, awesome. What kind of led you to that training career?
This guy right here. So this is Otis. I adopted him at a year and a half old, and I thought I knew a lot about dogs until this guy came into my life. He totally rocked my world. Every behavioral issue a dog could have, this guy has. He has a lot of aggression issues, and I was really struggling. But I knew that when I spent time with him, I just lost track of time. I felt very fulfilled and passionate about it. So I decided I'm going to quit my job in the salon industry and I'm going to become a dog trainer. I didn't really have a backup plan or money in savings. I just decided to go for it. And, I got connected with the people that built the pet station, and the rest is history. So here I am, Otis Place.
Awesome. Okay, so today we're just going to do a quick kind of question, just a brief overview of why you should hire a professional dog trainer. So some questions that we kind of were thinking about is like, just first off, what kind of dogs need the training?
So all dogs deserve training. A lot of people think that, oh, this place. A lot of people think that training is just for bad dogs. I don't believe that there are such thing as bad dogs. There's a lot of bad behaviors, but that can be addressed in training. But training is awesome for all dogs. So it opens up a line of communication between the dog and owner. It allows you to live a more harmonious life with your dog. It makes the dog's world a lot bigger. They get to go out and do a lot more fun things and be included in a lot of your outdoor adventures and visiting family and friends and going on hikes if they have good manners. If you can take them out and about and they don't embarrass you and they don't pull you over, they don't go chasing a squirrel when you're trying to go for a walk. So any dog deserves training.
Yep. And I know I can I've been pulled down the street a few times on some walks, so I'm excited. Okay, so then like another question is, why should you hire a professional dog trainer? Couldn't you just kind of just read a book or learn something off the internet? So tell us about that.
So there are a ton of awesome trainers putting out a lot of awesome content online. There are a lot of great books, but there's just as many, if not more, really bad trainers putting out really bad content, and some that can actually be really dangerous, especially if you're dealing with aggression. So it's also too, you need to have somebody that can understand, to stop, that can understand dog body language and help to interpret that to you. And every dog responds to training differently. They respond to different training techniques and different tools differently. So if you go online and you find a video and you try to do exactly what they do, you may not have success because either A, you don't understand how your dog is responding, or B, it's maybe not the right technique or tool for your dog. So being able to understand that and working with someone who can help you through that is really beneficial. Also, too, there are so many different ways and methods to train a dog. And if you go online and try to figure out everything yourself, you're very likely going to run into a lot of conflicting information. So this one's telling me this, but this one says don't do that. And then you get really confused and overwhelmed and you really don't know what's right. So a lot of times when you end up doing that, what you do is, if you could tell, he's a little bit needy, Otis. place. So what happens a lot of times is people end up really confusing themselves and sending really confusing information to the dog because they're sending them a lot of mixed signals, and they don't even realize that's what's happening. So working with a professional trainer is super important, just to make sure you're communicating the right information to your dog.
Yeah, and I know I can personally attest to that because we brought a third dog home, and that kind of changed, as you know, changed the mix of the home life. And then also being thrown into quarantine as well. So we brought a puppy home. We originally had, jobs where we were away. Now we're stuck at home, and I was reading conflicting information, and it's not my area of expertise. So you don't know what you don't know. And you're right. Like, I'm sure each breed probably reacts differently too.
Yep. And another analogy I give is it's kind of like, I take my car to a mechanic because I don't know squat about changing the oil or the filters or fixing the brakes or anything like that. And sure, I could spend a lot of time and try to research it online and try to do it myself. And I might do an okay job, but is it worth the risk of me maybe messing up my car or getting into an accident because I didn't do something right? And now that piece isn't working properly. Whereas a mechanic has a lot of experience working with a wide variety of different types of cars, makes and models. So they're going to have a skill set that they've really honed over time that's going to allow them to do the job, more efficiently and correctly. So.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So what are some things that people should look for in that dog trainer? Like you said, there's all kinds of trainers, there are resources out there. So what should you look for, and like what kind of questions should you consider to ask?
That's a great question. So there are so many great dog trainers out there, and regardless of what type of training technique, style that you prefer, I think one of the most important things is feeling really comfortable with your trainer, that you could trust them. Ask to see examples of their work. I know me personally, I post a lot of video content of my training dogs on my personal social media pages so people can see what a dog who's gone through training with me looks like. There are always going to be those rare cases of dogs who just really don't want to train. They'd rather be cuddling. And they're like, I don't want to have to do this. But those are kind of the rare ones. Most dogs should be a willing participant and should enjoy the training. So what you want to look for in their examples is the dog happy-go-lucky? Does their body language look good? Do they look like they're enjoying themselves, or do they look really scared? Does their body language look like they're shut down? Those are ones that you got to kind of be a little bit leery of. And also anyone who could promise you guaranteed overnight success with XYZ in a week, because that's not how dogs work. They need time, they need consistency, they need patience, they need a lot of repetitions. So those are definitely some things you want to look for. I think one of the most important things is can you as the owner, do you feel comfortable with them? Do you jive with them? Personality conflicts, if you don't get along with your trainer, you just don't like their personality, even if they're a great dog trainer and you don't like the personality, it's not going to work. And it doesn't do your dog any good, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to take coaching and take instruction from your trainer, because they're going to help you through, and they're going to pick out little nuanced things that you could do a little bit different or hold the leash a little bit different this way. And if you don't like their personality, you're not going to want to work with them. So keep looking around for another trainer that you really enjoy.
Yeah, totally can relate to that. And I wanted to bring up real quick. So what the dogs are doing right now, that's called place, right?
Yes, this is place. And this is my other dog, Hank. So this is a boundary stay. This teaches dogs that they can't come off. They're not supposed to bark or jump while they're on here. So this is really great to provide dogs structure. We talk a lot about, structure with dogs, and they need structure, and they really thrive with structure. A lot of times people don't understand what that means. Dogs get into trouble, and a lot of problem behaviors develop because they just don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So they find something to be doing, especially when you have active breeds, like these are both Australian Shepherd mixes. If I didn't give them a job to be doing, or something, that they know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, they would be all over the place. Mm-hmm. And this one having a lot of aggression issues and resource guarding issues, I couldn't have a second dog in the house if it was not for place and having structure, because there would be fights. And so that's something that allows me to have a 2-dog household harmoniously. And the other thing too, I remembered a little piece I missed about what to look for in a trainer that I think is really important. So I want to jump back to that really quick. It's super important that your trainer is transparent, upfront, and honest about everything from the very beginning. about expectations from training, what to expect afterwards, about the tools that they're going to use, the techniques, any kind of challenges your dog might be having in training. It is so important that your trainer is super upfront and transparent about everything from the get-go and throughout the training process.
Yeah, communication is key there.
Yep.
And so the programs that you kind of offer at the pet station, I know what I have right now is the pups are in board and train, and they go and live with you at the pet station. And as I say, one of my dogs, I'm not sure if wants to come back or not.
Gus is Mr. Social. He would love to stay here and party forever.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he's gonna want to come home, but that's a service that you guys kind of provide in your training programs, and those are 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Is that correct?
It can range anywhere from two to 5, just depending on the owner's training goals, the dog's temperament, how they respond in a new environment. There's a lot of different factors that go into that. The board and train is definitely, it's not the only option we offer. We do offer day training and private lessons. However, the board and train is by far my favorite training option, because you see the most improvement or progress in the quickest amount of time. It's the best return on investment. What we can do in 3 or 4 weeks takes the average pet owner, sometimes 6 months to a year to achieve, if they do it. Because a lot of times there's so much inconsistency in between it. They get really excited in the beginning, and then they're like, oh, this is boring, and life gets busy, and they just kind of fall off of things. So the board and train is definitely by far your best return on investment.
Okay, that's good to know. So if there's somebody watching or anybody down the road wants to get in touch with you, what's the best process in trying to figure out if they have a pet that might be interested in this board and train, or there's other services obviously there at the pet station as well?
Sure. So the best way is just to go to our website, which is www.thepetstationinc.com. And they can go to the training tab and look at our different training options. And on that same page, there's going to be an inquiry form that they fill out, and that gives us some information about the dog and about their goals. Once they submit that, then we will reach out to them. Typically, email is the best way for us to set up the initial, hey, I got your inquiry. Let's talk about what your goals are and see if we can help you in your training. So a little side note on that, a lot of time our emails like to go to people's junk mail. So if you submit an inquiry and you don't hear from us, sometimes it takes us a couple of days, because we are busy training dogs pretty much all day. So if you don't hear from us within a couple of days, check that junk folder and make sure it hasn't gone there. So that's definitely the best way. For certain dogs, at the end of the day, we want what's best for the dog. So if I have a dog come in for an evaluation and I feel like that dog's really going to struggle in a boarding situation because of, could be a number of reasons, I'm not going to push that dog into a board and train just because I feel like they're going to make more progress there. I want the dog to be healthy, happy. And if that means doing private lessons so the owner is the one learning, then I'm, definitely open to doing that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to ask that question, because I'm sure you probably get this, is can every dog be trained? Is there some dogs that, sometimes that isn't an option?
Every dog can be trained 100%. A lot of that is one question I get all the time. Can old dog be trained? 100%. The oldest dog I trained was a 10-year-old golden retriever, and he makes me smile just thinking about him. He loved training. Like, he turned into a puppy with training. He was like, this is awesome. He came to me because of a behavioral issue, and we gave him lots of obedience and structure so that the owners didn't have to, could handle him in a way that was safe and whatnot. But he absolutely loved training. Now, I will say that the older the dog is, and the more they've been practicing that undesirable behavior, the harder it is to break. It's just like with humans. If we play a sport, let's just say we play basketball, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. It just becomes, second nature. Dogs are no different. And so the older they are, the more kind of set in their ways. And especially if the dog has never been in a new environment, they've pretty much been in their home environment for their entire lives, and they don't have a lot of socialization experience, they are going to struggle a little bit more. But sometimes that, we have to push through that. And I might need those dogs a little bit longer in a board and train, just to kind of build that bond and let them get acclimated to the new environment. But every dog can be trained for sure.
That's good to
And
know.
I mean, you have two bulldogs, and everyone thinks bulldogs are untrainable, and they're making progress. You know, they're learning things, and you know, yes, it takes a little bit longer, but we're getting there.
They're a little stubborn.
Yeah, just a little bit, but we're getting there.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll drop that link too, so that anybody that wants to click on can go take a look at the website. And if anyone in the area hasn't driven by the Murphy Lane Road location, you can see it from the street. It's got to be one of the coolest places. Because can you tell about the facility real quick? What do you guys?
Sure.
Yeah, tell them about it.
So it's like Disney World for dogs, vacation for your pet. We have a couple different boarding options as far as we have what we call our private residences, which are basic, you know, just basic rooms. Every dog has a room. We don't have kennels or cages or, you know, those metal chain link fence things. Every dog has their own private room. They have a door. And then we have, they're taken out for 5 potty breaks a day. That's standard with our boarding. We also have what we call premium suites, which have these sliding glass doors, and they have like a little pet cam where people can talk to their pet and see them and shoot them treats. I will have a little note there. Not all dogs do great in those premium suites because there is so much visibility. Some dogs do better when they have a little bit more privacy. And so a lot of times that's more for the owner than it is for the dog. So if we recommend maybe your dog isn't doing well there, be open to the private residence as well. But we have also for little dogs that are 21 inches or under and under 30 pounds, we have what's called a luxury lounge, which they actually stay in a group setting. So they're there with other little dogs and there's beds in there. So they just hang out in there 24/7. We also have someone here on staff 24 hours a day. So if there's an emergency in the middle of the night, the dogs aren't here, you know, on their own. We have an indoor dog park. It's 4,000 square feet. We just finished building a pavilion, outdoor pavilion. So it's covered with canine grass, all kinds of really great playground equipment for them that's custom built for dogs. We also have an outdoor turfed yard so that the dog can come and play for daycare and not get covered in mud. We also have 3 grass yards, large grass yards. We have a swimming pool. So it's what we call zero gravity entry. So they could walk into it instead of having to jump into it. And we have all kinds of additional add-on services. So if your dog's staying here boarding and you don't want them, a lot of times people say stuck in the room all day, which is not the case, but a lot of owners get this owner guilt. But you can add on different services like a sniff walk. We have a nature trail that goes around our facility. It's like being on a hike. You can add on a cuddle time for your dog, a play time. So there's lots of different options. You can add a peanut butter stuffed Kong, a bully stick, froyo. There's so many different options that you can add to make sure your dog's having a great time while they're here. And grooming. I can't believe I almost forgot grooming. We have an amazing grooming staff. So we have something for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it really is Disney World for the dogs.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all the time you've taken here with us today. We've got some viewers and everything like that. So I'm just going to comment, tell them to go visit you guys on the website. And anybody out there that knows of somebody who might want to be looking into training, feel free to share this video, get them in touch with Carole. She's wonderful. So I appreciate your time so much. I know you have a busy schedule.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
All right. I'll see you later. I'll sign us off here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.